Welcome to Recently Logged, the film podcast hosted by two people of note. Get it? Because of the movie.
Because of the movie? No one's seen this movie,
Nobody's
Micah.
seen this movie. We're not actually really that big of people of
Dude, Micah is the most person of note person here, I think.
And I only have like 900 subscribers on YouTube.
And that's because he has internet points. So, I don't know what's happening. But yes, we're talking about a great little film today. Called Grand Piano.
That nobody has watched, but maybe you should.
Nobody has seen this. I think I follow like pretty close to 300 people on Letterboxd, and I think like 7 of them have seen it.
Like I had no idea what this was. I had never heard of it, and then we watched it, and yeah, we'll talk about what I thought of it later.
Whoa, if you can even believe it.
But for now, do we want to get into the facts?
Yeah,
about the movie.
Let's do it.
All right, it's been a while since I feel like I've done one of these, so
it
get
really
ready
has.
for me really struggling to pronounce some names. So this week we're talking about Grand Piano, a 2013 rated R film for some reason. Don't really know why it's rated R. It's an hour and 30 minutes. Its little IMDb description is: a pianist with stage fright endures a performance under the eyes of a mysterious sniper who will shoot and kill him if a wrong note is played.
Yes, that is the movie.
It stars Elijah Wood and John Cusack.
Heck yeah, it stars Elijah Wood.
And really, that's about it. I mean,
Wow.
We don't have to mention anyone else. I mean, we could mention Alan Leach.
Hey, Alex Winter's in this movie.
He plays Wayne. Alex Winter's here. Tamsin Egerton gives a really good performance.
She is quite good.
Shout out to her. And I mean,
yeah.
I don't know, Carrie something.
Beisch?
Maybe?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Now we're getting to the part. It's directed by Eugenio Mira.
Yeah, that seems right. Okay, we'll take that. He hasn't directed too much. I had never really heard of him before I watched this.
Written by Damien Chazelle,
my boy. I'm a big Damien Chazelle fan, so that was actually one of the big reasons I wanted to see this. That and Elijah Wood.
Yeah, like I was like Elijah Wood, and then Robbie was like, and it's written by Damien Chazelle, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll watch.
Wow,
I'll bite, because this was from an era where posters were just real like lame looking, like they did not capture like if the movie would be cool at all.
Dude, mid-2010s thriller posters are like some of the lamest out there. I kid you not.
But yeah, that's the basic facts of Grand Piano.
Indeed. Let's go ahead and move on to what we thought of the movie.
What?
So Micah.
Yeah, Robbie.
What did you think of the film Grand Piano? What did you think?
What did I think? What were my opening thoughts?
No. What are your opening thoughts? Just if you just were telling me what you thought of the movie, what did you think of the movie?
Like, my basic thoughts. Oh my God. Some kind of anything like that.
No, that segment was abolished. It's gone forever now.
I really liked Grand Piano, especially on a rewatch. We watched it again last night, as you know.
How would they know that, Micah?
Well, as you know, not as they know.
Okay.
Maybe they follow me on Letterboxd.
Oh, that could be.
And honestly, it only got better. The cast is really fun. The cinematography and like music and score and everything and editing are really, really great.
The way they incorporate the score is insane. I love it.
So like I don't know, it's a very cool movie.
Very cool movie.
I gave it 4.5 stars.
Wow, there you go. Pretty high praise, Mike.
What about you, Robbie?
I also really loved it. I adored it on a first viewing, and I think I kind of came to terms with its problems on the second viewing. I still rated it the same both times. I gave it a 4.5 as well.
I think it honestly works, and I guess spoilers for
Spoilers
Grand Piano.
for the thriller from the mid-2010s, Grand Piano.
I really think it works a whole lot better when you're not sitting there questioning, like, well, why is he doing this? What's going on? What's going to happen? Like, it works a lot better when you know what's going to happen in the end, I think.
I could see that, yeah, because, like, for those who don't know, the plot of Grand Piano is a little fantastical and kind of dumb when it plays out.
A little goofy.
Little bit goofy,
but
ridiculous. I think
Mm-hmm.
it still works pretty well. I still think it holds on to its dramatic tension really well.
No, I think they do a really good job justifying how insane it is.
Right.
And you made a really interesting point last night, that it very much feels almost like a 60s movie.
I think that's a spot on description for how this movie is like filmed and edited and paced and everything.
And I think that really fits into a lot of how like the story itself feels, because like it's so ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, that would be a 60s movie. I could see that happening, because back then you could do a stupid plot and everybody would just commit to it and everybody would be like, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Nowadays you do something like this and they're like, oh, can't believe all of this happened.
Why would he eat a croissant there? We know he likes bagels. Come on.
Exactly. So it definitely feels, even if that's a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah,
obviously,
no, it is.
It definitely feels like a story writing kind of thing that isn't really made anymore.
Yeah, no, it feels like some kind of weird artifact that like has somehow been preserved and like rebirthed into the 2010s. I don't
said preserved and rebirthed.
It was pretty funny. But yeah, no, it maintains a tone and curates itself well enough that I think its kind of goofy premise works pretty well.
And dude, like the actual dramatic tension that it wants to keep works so well. Like, I've seen so many thrillers that like are like, here's the big plot, and it's just kind of like okay. Whatever. But like this actually, for as unique of a premise as it is, keeps you extremely dialed in and extremely like on the edge of your seat the entire movie. And in my opinion, like I'm very, even on a rewatch, I was like, yeah,
exactly,
this is intense, which it should be. And like it's a really cool, unique premise for a movie too, because it keeps it on such a small scale with such a small cast.
I was gonna bring that up. I was like, the reason it probably feels so dialed in 90% of the time is because it introduces like 6 characters maybe and 1 location. And that's it. Like that's the movie. That's the entire thing. But it's pretty cool. I think that's a neat way to kind of do a minimal screenplay instead of having like this weird sprawling thing.
Yeah, I was gonna
because with a plot like this, it would have been so strange if it had tried to like add more details to like the end or beginning or anything.
I just looked at the box offices for this movie.
What?
Its gross US and Canada box office.
I'm so scared.
Was 22,000.
22,000?
22,000.
Oh,
its
no.
gross worldwide was barely over $1 million.
Oh no.
I guarantee this movie lost money.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm sure it didn't cost them that much.
No. Like I said, only like 6 people in like
but
one location.
But movies are still expensive.
Yeah, right?
They shot this in an actual theater in Spain.
My goodness, man. That sucks so hard because this is such a fun movie.
Right? And nobody watched it.
I would go to a theater and watch this like 2 times.
Put it in theater, guys.
So much fun.
I'd do it.
But anyway, down to the nitty gritty, Micah. Did you have
I was gonna ask you actually what I hopped on here for originally was just to check on that. But
okay.
What I was gonna ask you is, what do you think of a lot of the film's setup?
The setup, like the first, I mean, it takes like 15-20 minutes to get going, really. Like till you get into like
all the way up
part,
to the concert starting.
The
setup.
What do I think of it? I think it's. Okay, how to explain this? I think that its screenplay is very dense
Dense.
and smartly written.
Smartly written.
But it doesn't come across... It has that thing that movies do sometimes where it's like very plainly setting up the rest of the movie. And like it doesn't feel natural all the time. It kind of suffers from that, but not like too bad. Where it's like setting up a bunch of plot elements and like when they introduce like the cell phones and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, they're definitely going to use that later. And like when they introduce the iPad or the tablet, I'm like, oh, they're definitely going to use that later.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think about the tablet at all.
Maybe I'm just like some crazy person who thinks about screenplays too much, but I don't know. It kind of felt like that a little bit.
For me, I didn't get any of like an unnatural setup vibe. I thought it was just a really smart, fun setup.
Well, I just thought it kind of feels a little stilted sometimes, but like it's still a really smart way to set up your screenplay.
The only time I would say it feels kind of weird is quite frankly on the plane, because I felt like that was a bit like heavy-handed, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that where it's like, okay, yeah, we get it, but
but I don't know. Like,
it lacks a little subtlety at times.
I didn't feel that for any of the actual individual elements it was setting up, because I guess so. Like even when Alex Winter's character came on, and you could tell he was something was not correct, but I didn't feel like, here's this guy,
Alex Winter.
Like I don't know. I just never got that.
I mean, fair enough. Like that's just me. And I mean, obviously, I noticed it more the second time around because I'd seen the movie before.
Yeah, and so then on the second time around, I'm more like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, no, like
cool stuff.
It's neat. Yeah, like I said, it feels like a film student's like a film student's screenplay. Well, I mean, but in a good way. Like it's a good screenplay.
I mean, like to be honest, Damien Chazelle wrote this extremely early on in his career.
Yes, yeah. No, it feels like someone who just finished their screenwriting course and wrote like 2 screenplays and then wrote this, and it's like, yeah, great setup, really good, like rich way.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think thematically, it sets it up really well.
Yeah, no, it's like I said. Great opening. Just on occasion it feels a little like heavy-handed, but that's about it.
I disagree. No.
It's just so weird because like the few people I know who have seen this movie like complain about the first act, and I don't know why, because it's like it's setting up all of the characters, which are very interesting.
Yeah, that's especially specifically something I wanted to bring up, because I know you had said that people had complained about the first act. And, like, that's so
bizarre to me. I don't know.
Right? Like, because theoretically the first act would go until he pulls out the little gun, right? If we're breaking this down, until he gets to know that if he play, like, the whole concert scene where he figures everything out, that's when the story kicks off.
I mean, I guess so, yeah.
So all of that before that, but like that's so short. That's like 20 minutes.
Someone, I think like one of the top reviews on Letterboxd said cut the first like 15 minutes like till he gets to the concert out, and like or till the concert starts is what they said. And you have like a perfect movie. I'm like, no, you'd miss so much, man.
See, I agree. Like that you admit, because of the way the opening kind of feels, and it doesn't fully feel on par with the rest of the movie. No. Even if I don't think it felt like especially heavy-handed, I could see the desire to want to keep it like completely just at the concert venue.
No, it'd be cool for sure.
And like. You'd still have to do more with that. You can't just cut it, because it really does set up important stuff thematically. It
sets up a lot of stuff.
And just for the movie. That's like, say, like, I don't know, that'd be really weird to just like cut everything out and then they'd be like, oh, here's this guy. Oh, here's this tablet he has.
Here's this man. He's a piano man.
He's a piano man. I do think the story definitely could have been handled a little bit more elegantly, though.
Yeah.
Specifically in the beginning and the end of the film. I really think that the middle of the film does like exactly what it needs to, like perfectly.
I think that middle like stretch of like an hour is like perfect.
Yeah,
I love
it.
Like
honestly,
it's so good.
That's when the editing and the cinematography and like the actors and just everything about the film really just like goes off. Like to shout out a specific shot I particularly loved. It's when Wayne, shout out to Wayne.
Shout out to Wayne. Wow.
Gets the text from Tom.
Yeah, his name's Tom. Yeah.
And is walking up on the balcony, and it tracks him along, and it looks weird. Like, there's still something about the shot that looks weird, but I still think it looks really good.
I think it's the focal length of the lens.
And he walks across the entire balcony and stops and runs into Alex Winter's character, and it's perfectly framed onto one side of the screen, with the concert being seen on the other side. And then, again, spoilers for the movie, Wayne gets murdered. And, like, as he's getting killed and dragged away, and the tension of the music is, like, rising a bunch, it starts to perfectly, like, seamlessly cut on the screen. Like, it just looks like it's zooming. I don't know how they framed that, but it's beautiful. And they start zooming in on the concert, half of the screen zooming in on Tom playing the piano.
Seems like something Wes Anderson would do. I can't explain why.
Like, it's really cool.
Yeah,
and like, it's so seamless in its framing.
It's so good. That's one of the biggest things I wanted to praise with this movie is how good it is, like, with its visual storytelling, and just how nice its cinematography and lighting look like 90% of the movie.
Yeah,
it's great.
Especially, like, once the concert starts, like, just every shot just is so beautiful. Like, and I don't know how they did that. And again, like, I was thinking about this last night. Like, there are so many shots that are just kind of, like, weird for a movie, but, like, it works so well. Like, multiple times the camera and the piano and Tom are just completely sideways in the frame.
Right.
But it doesn't, like, it doesn't throw you off in the slightest. It feels completely normal for what they're going for.
Yeah, I was about to say, you mentioned once the concert starts, that's when the movie gets good. But that's when the movie feels most in control of what it's doing, like, for the entire runtime.
Yeah, like I said, and I want to talk about it when we get to it, but, like, the end of the movie is the only other time that I feel like it loses some of that elegance that it has going during, like, the entire middle of the...
Something I wanted to bring up while we were on the middle section is how weird the villain is in this movie. Like, that's honestly, like, one of my biggest problems with this entire movie. It's just, like, his motivation isn't entirely clear. And he's so eccentric that I feel like it needs to be clearer. I don't know.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you could have given any setup to this movie, like, if you made any changes, I would loosen up the beginning, like cut quite a bit of the fat off.
I could see that.
And add stuff for him.
Right.
Because he's just a really, like even if it's not, like, actual, here's his backstory. But, like, him, like, setting stuff up, maybe giving some kind of connection to him.
Just something to get us acclimated with the man before he's just, like, in our ear the entire movie. You know?
And clearly he's a little bit out there, because even, like, Alex Winter's character, the guy who's working for him, is just completely annoyed with him the entire movie.
Right? No, like, but there's, like, this, he has, like, this weird obsession with, like, the prestige of piano, and it's not really set up as to why, or, like, because like, his plot would make you think, because for those who don't know, I guess we're spoiling the entire movie, a grand piano, the whole thing is he has to play the last 4 bars of a specific piece correctly on that piano to get to a fortune for someone.
And actually, I think that's not entirely true.
Yeah.
From what I picked up from the actual filmmaking, I think you have to play the entire piece, but just specifically the last 4 bars to unlock it.
That would make sense.
Because, like, if you remember, they, like, go into the shot of the gears working inside the piano.
True. That is very true.
In the middle of the...
Yeah. But anyway, you have to play it perfectly, but, like,
it's
for some reason the bad guy keeps going on about, like, the prestige and purity and art and stuff like that. I'm like, okay,
and why he's a person of note.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, so is this guy, like, jealous of what's his face, Tom's skills? Is he just after the money? The plot would make you think he's just after the money, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting how, like, because again, he has no connection. If he gave us some sort of connection to what's his face, the guy who died, what was his name?
Wayne?
No, not Wayne.
Which? Oh,
the old guy, the guys whose piano it is.
I don't remember his name.
We have no connection to him. Like, he has no connection to him, so it feels like he's just kind of here. Whereas the way his character is introduced, it feels like he should have some deep connection to this guy, not just, oh, I was his locksmith.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, he commissioned me to build this lock like 30 years ago.
which is still so funny, and again, they do a pretty good job in movie of explaining why he can't just tear open the piano, because he designed the lock. But like, they do a pretty decent job on showing that this is like the only time he could even theoretically get somebody else to even like play on it for him.
No, it don't get me wrong, the movie does a like decent job of handling his character. I just wish he was handled a bit better.
Yeah, like thematically he doesn't fully make sense.
Exactly,
because
that's the biggest thing.
And I'm sure they're doing a lot of that specifically to kind of keep you guessing on what his actual motive and plot is. But like, you could do something fun with his character, having him like really be obsessed with Tom, even.
Right? Yeah, or even just the piano. Like, I don't know. Like, they just needed to give him something, some kind of motivation.
I'll say this. I really think it could have worked if the ending played out differently and they had more of a personal if he had more of a personal connection to Tom, and it wasn't just, here's my plan I've been working on for 3 years for a tiny little heist that fell apart in like 30 seconds.
Right. It went downhill so fast.
If he was actually more of an intimidating like planner, because the only hold of intimidation that he has is the entire movie. Like, he's got a gun.
That's the entire thing.
He's a sniper, which isn't even explained why a locksmith is like such a master sniper.
Well, in his defense, it's a pretty small theater. He can hit pretty much anything.
But no, like if he would have had like even more planning and even more stuff that when Tom like tries to do like even more to get out of it, he has plans upon plans of backup, and it's more of kind of like a
Micah wants the Joker.
No, okay,
but yeah, no, like, I see what you're saying.
Not the Joker, but like Dark Knight style Joker kind of thing. Like, actually plan well. Have contingencies for your contingency.
And I think that's the biggest turnoff for a lot of people to this movie, is that the villain is just kind of half baked in a lot of respects. But I still think the like the central core of the movie works pretty well in spite of that.
The themes for Tom work really well.
Exactly.
And like I said, I think it would work even better if you just connected the villain some way in the beginning, or in the beginning to old guy and the end to Tom, because those are like the two key players that never really get connected.
Key players?
Get it? Because they're the only two people who could play La Cinquette, Robbie. But like, there's almost no real connection to them shown on screen.
Yeah.
I think that suffers a lot from like the tell don't show, because they just didn't have time.
Yeah, and like, this movie's really short. Like, for most thrillers, I get thrillers aren't usually like 3-hour epics or whatever, but like, this is kind of a short movie.
It's 90 minutes, and I looked in the IMDb trivia actually, and it says 12 minutes of that is credits only. Like, apparently it's got really long credits.
But yeah, like, I feel like it wouldn't have killed them to add like just a little bit more, like even just like a scene or two more.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of budget they were working on or time frame,
right?
Because this feels very indie, even though it feels extremely polished indie. Like, it feels very like,
yeah, no,
they weren't working with much.
Yeah, no, you can. I don't want to say you can tell, but like it very much feels. I get the impression that they didn't have like the biggest budget in the world, like, which evidently they didn't.
Like you mentioned, for Damien Chazelle, this is one of his first screenplays, and as much as it's still really good and really rich, it very much feels like an early screenplay.
Exactly,
all around. Things not connecting as well as they could have.
Not as cohesive as it could be.
Cohesive as it could be. The ending feeling kind of like the ending feels really good. Yeah. But at the same time, like, it's not as great like as it could be.
That's like every problem I have with this movie. It's like, yeah, like, this element isn't bad, but like, it could be quite a bit better.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5, because especially when watching the movie, I think it's like, you hardly notice.
It's so much fun. I love it so much.
It's a great movie, and I I hate in the podcast when we sound like we're trying to pick apart a movie and we sound like we're bashing it. I love this movie. It does have some problems though, and I understand why people were kind of turned off to it, especially from like I don't know, an average audience standpoint who maybe wouldn't appreciate just the level of filmmaking.
I was about to say, if I was a little more skeptical about like movies that I thought were dumb, quote unquote, like if I turned this on and I was like, oh, this looks kind of dumb, and then like, but see, like me, because I am so interested in film editing and cinematography and stuff like that, I just really, really like drink up the middle of this movie because it's so dialed in both its editing, the way it's scored, the consistency, like shot to shot. It just has such a good visual flow and sense of rhythm to it. It's great.
I mean, like there's real like tension throughout the entire middle. Like even when like Wayne is getting up and like when he has to run off stage really quick and come back, like it's really cool moments in the middle of this because it's just a really neat idea and really well done.
Man, the way the score is incorporated and like the film is built around the score is so impressive to me. Like
just like even just the composition of the score lining up so perfectly with what they were doing.
Oh my gosh.
Like that's some insane level of musical planning.
Right? No, this seems like an insanely well storyboarded movie.
Yeah, and that's like I don't know, it's very interesting. Do you have any other questions though?
I don't know. What did you think of Elijah Wood here? We're both big Elijah Wood fans. What did you think of him in this movie?
Elijah Wood.
In this movie.
Gotta love Elijah Wood.
It's true.
I've never seen anything with Elijah Wood that I haven't liked specifically Elijah Wood in.
Right.
Even Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency or whatever. Very weird. Elijah Wood's great in that. Wow. No, I mean, I loved his performance. He gives like a great feeling, and I think especially just not to be mean to Elijah Wood. I love the man, like his smaller stature and feeling really plays into the character itself. Like,
no, it was a good casting choice.
It was a great casting choice. I'm not saying like, oh, look at how scrawny Elijah Wood is, but
wow,
like,
Micah, why would you insult my boy that way?
I'm not trying to insult him. I think he looks amazing. He's a beautiful man. But I think especially like take the scene when he's actually next to John Cusack, like.
Oh my gosh.
John Cusack's not like a massive man.
He looks like a towering like a bulk in this movie, dude.
Right? And I think that's really cool. And like I think he gives a great like performance for like just being like absolutely and like insanely nervous. And just shout out to him for like playing as much as he did in this, because like he didn't play everything, but pretty much every time he's playing on screen, like you can actually see his face and his fingers playing. He is actually playing,
which is so weird to me. Like, dude, the one time when like this shot stands out in my mind, he's doing like this very complicated section where he's doing like one section with his left hand, like you play a piano, you do like one section with the left hand, one with the right, and they're only showing his left hand and his reflection in the piano. You're like, I wonder why. I wonder what his other hand's doing right now.
Poor Elijah Wood, man. Like specifically in the trivia, it talks about how nervous he was and how like he was struggling so much to try and actually act while he had to focus on playing such complicated music.
Dude, he's killing it in this though. Like he's doing good.
No, like the performance is great.
I just thought it was very funny. I'm like, yeah, because that was like the one shot in my mind where I'm like, yeah.
I loved the line when he starts playing La Cinquette and John Cusack won't shut up.
Oh my gosh.
That's such a great line delivery.
Great line delivery. 10 of 10.
And see, like that big moment. Oh, like just shout out to like that. So like at the end with La Cinquette, that was like a perfect like, and I don't know, like for as much as I'm like, oh, it doesn't thematically work,
doesn't make any sense
for the villain, but like at that moment, like it hits so hard for Tom's character, and then when he runs up and like all of that is so freaking cool for Tom's character.
I was about to say, well, that kind of plays into what my impression was, is that the bad guy is also kind of doubles as Tom's internal monologue. Well, I mean, pretty
yeah,
blatantly.
That's kind of
pretty blatantly for like a nervous performer. It makes a lot of sense that way. That's like the only way it makes sense. But that's probably why that moment feels so like, yeah, like you want to cheer in the theater kind of thing.
No, again, and I think this is interesting, and I keep bringing it up, but I think it really is interesting in my mind for Damien Chazelle having written this, and especially early on.
Yeah.
Whiplash's themes for like a musician in general are so like this, but like more developed and more like.
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting. Like this is almost like prototype Whiplash in a way.
Proto Whiplash.
Because so much of it is about like why you're playing, who you're playing for, your audience, what it means, and what that voice, in this one being John Cusack and in the other one being J.K. Simmons, like does to you as a musician, and what it means for you and how you overcome that. And I think that's really interesting.
No, yeah, I was about to say it's very much there. You can see it in this movie, but it just feels kind of half-baked. Like it feels a little underdeveloped in this. And that's honestly like I think its biggest problem, because the villain feeds into that.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Because everything's supposed to come from that central theme, and because it's a little weaker than it should be, in my opinion. Not everything clicks the way it should.
But dude, the Lawson Cat scene, that's so good.
It is really good.
I love the Lawson Cat. Like again, and as much as I think it doesn't hit quite as hard, I think like Robbie said, that is my biggest problem. Not that it's bad in any way.
No, it's not bad.
But that you can just kind of feel that it could have been. It
could have been
like it
could have been that much better.
Give it like a couple more rewrites on the screenplay. And
you could have had one of the best thrillers ever made, honestly.
No, like really, because this is beautiful. This is like really, the idea is fantastic. Mm-hmm. The performances are great. The casting's great. The cinematography's great. The editing's great. The music's great. Like it's insane.
It's just such a good movie.
And I think next to all of that greatness is why the actual stuff that's not feels so like pale in comparison. But not really even when I was watching it, like especially on a rewatch, you can kind of just be like, okay.
Yeah, like you're like, okay, I see what they're going for, but it just doesn't hit the way it should. But yeah, no, great movie. Love the movie.
Well, okay, Robbie, since you mentioned it specifically, and we're kind of like, I don't know,
we're winding down.
We got the discussion pretty good on this. Yeah, what do you think of the opening credits?
The opening credits? Wait, oh my god. Okay, so guys, I'm a big opening credits junkie. I love opening credits in movies. They're so
opening credits junkie.
Is that Robbie? A thing?
No, that's not a thing.
Okay, I'm just really into opening credits for movies. I think it's a great way to establish tone and visual like cues and stuff for the movie. And I think this movie does it really well. I'm a big fan of how it sets up kind of the pace and tone and severity of the movie that's coming up. It's a bunch of like methodical zoom transitions and stuff like that on a piano, and it works really well. It does a great job at establishing
it's a fantastic tone.
It's almost like clockwork rhythm that it has to it. It's very nice. I just love the opening credits.
I love going through the IMDb stuff because it's randomly really funny.
No, Micah.
The miscellaneous goofs. It's like the big concert starts at 9:30, which is a little late for a classical concert, don't you think?
Oh my god.
Don't you think these old people should be in bed by now? It's essentially the vibe that has hilarious. Going for.
That's listed under the goofs.
Yes.
That's funny.
But I did want to, I thought this was interesting. I found this out. 10 Happy Fingers, the song that plays during the end credits, was written by Dr. Seuss. For a short thing apparently in which there's like an evil piano teacher.
What? I need to see this immediately. If Dr. Seuss was involved in an evil piano movie.
The featured song 10 Happy Fingers is from the film The 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T.
What?
A fantasy about an evil piano teacher, which was written by Dr. Seuss, who also wrote the song.
Okay, I gotta watch this now.
The 5,000 fingers.
That sounds amazing. Oh my gosh, it came out in 1953. This looks amazing. Okay, it's already in my watch list. Cool. I wonder why Roy Rowland directed it. That's his most popular movie. I wonder why I put it in my
I just thought that was an interesting side note.
That's so weird. What? Dude. Oh, it's a 50s movie. I went through and added like a bunch of 50s movies to my watch list.
Is there anything else you want to say about Grand Piano? Like, it's a very small movie. It's a very small cast. Not too much to talk about. I feel like we've covered most of what there is to say about it. Is there anything else you want to add? Any other questions?
No, not really. Like I mentioned, like I cannot stress enough how perfectly shot this movie is.
Oh man,
but like other than that, no, there's nothing else I need
seriously,
to add.
guys, even if you don't watch the whole movie, just go from when the concert starts to when the concert ends. Watch that, and you'll see how perfect
It's so good,
that
man.
this movie is shot
so
and
good.
paced and edited. Which is, again, I get why people are saying, like, people say what they said, like, oh, cut out all of the rest. You need the rest. It's just not as dialed in as specifically the concert.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, I think pretty definitively that's what we've cited as the big problem for the movie. So
Yeah. But no, very, very good movie.
very good movie.
I gave it, again, a 4.5 out of 5.
Yes, as did I.
Which, I mean, again, it just shows how, especially for
That's almost
for
a perfect score.
my specific taste in film, I mean, I love movies incorporating music this much. Like,
Yeah.
one of my biggest things, one of my favorite things in movies in general is specifically their music. For some reason, I don't know why that is. I just really connect to the music in movies. And the way that this incorporates it into like every aspect of its filmmaking is outstanding, and the problems that are there are not huge problems for me.
Exactly.
So I love this movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Great, like movie just from a visual and just from a filmmaking perspective. It's a great movie. And I think it's kind of hard to deny that. But like you said, few problems, not major. That just holds it back from being like absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, great movie. I guess that's it.
Watch it.
Watch Grand Piano. Yeah, it's on like a bunch of free streaming services right now. If you want to check it out, I think it's on Amazon Prime and Canopy as well. If you want to watch it without ads, but it's like a bunch of other places with ads. So. Yeah,
Which you should watch it without ads, guys. It's
preferably
really
without
well
ads.
paced and edited.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't ruin the concert with ads. But yeah, do we want to get into what we watched for the week?
Let's do it.
All right, for those of you who don't know or are new to the podcast, the What We Watched segment is a little section at the end that we do in which we just talk about all the films that we've logged on Letterboxd up into like the last episode.
Yeah.
Just briefly give our ratings.
Just briefly,
give
you know,
little
it's casual.
opinions. Casual.
You know.
A little something extra for the viewers who stay to the end.
Wow. But yeah, we'll be starting from the release date of the last episode, which released at like noonish on the 21st of, what is this, February?
Yes, February. So on the 21st, I watched Jurassic Park 3.
What? That's not a real movie.
Which, shout out to Jurassic Park 3 for being kind of terrible, but also really fun. It's not the worst thing ever made, but it certainly isn't that great.
It is certainly not the best thing ever made, Micah.
I gave it 2.5 stars. I really don't have much to say about it. My review was literally just still fun, though.
Yeah, like it's fun, and it has so many elements that drag it down.
No,
so
it's
bad.
really kind of slow and boring, which is sad for a Jurassic Park movie.
Right.
But I still enjoy what it's doing, and it's still a fun movie to do stuff while you work to, which is literally what I was doing for this. So yeah.
Well, there you go.
What did we watch next, Robbie?
Next we watched, which I thought it was a 2014 film, but apparently it's 2013.
No, I said 2013.
I know,
at the
but
beginning
like
of the episode.
Apple Movies said it was 2014. But we watched the 2013 film Grand Piano, which we just talked about for like half an hour.
Allow me to give my opinions on that movie.
Yeah, let's dive into that a little deeper.
Which on a first watch, I did give it 4 stars, by the way, not 4.5.
I mean, I gave it the same both times. I saw its genius. I always believed in it.
Wow. Then you watched a couple films that I did not.
I did. The next day, I watched The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which, for those who are not film buffs,
sounds lame.
Is a black and white
silent film,
German
probably.
expressionist film from the 20s. It's so good. It's like Tragedy of Macbeth. I actually watched a video about Tragedy of Macbeth a little, I think it was a couple days ago.
Ooh,
and they mentioned how
it's so good.
It's a lot of it is inspired by the German expressionism on display in Cabinet of Caligari. The lighting, set design, very similar.
That's cool.
It's really fun. It's great. It's fantastic. It definitely lives up to its like towering reputation as like the German expressionist film.
Out of all the German expressionist films that Robbie has seen, this is
like one. No, like out of all that I've seen, because this is the only one I've seen. But like it's so good. Like it's just amazing. And then after that, I watched. That's a bad idea, Micah.
No, I know it is. I wasn't actually going to do it.
After that, I watched The Safe House, which is a Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds thriller. And it was fine. It was pretty good. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was fine. I don't know. There's not much to say about it. Denzel's really good in it. Ryan is fine. He's not like killing the game, but he's not bad. I don't know. That's how I feel about Ryan Reynolds like 90% of the time.
Here, honestly.
But yeah, and then the next day on the 23rd,
we watched Robin Hood.
Robin Hood?
Actually, I think it was really late that night.
It might have been
because I wanted to watch something because I didn't watch anything that day. But anyway, we watched Robin Hood. The Disney 70s Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Shout out to it.
Shout out to the music.
It is absolutely fantastic in almost every way, except for some ways.
I said Love by Nancy Adams was one of the best things to happen to movies like ever.
I give it 4 stars. I thought about giving it 4.5, but I don't know. It doesn't.
It's not
fully
quite there.
Hit as much as it could sense for me, but it's still one of like my favorite films to just be in.
No, that totally makes sense, though. Yeah, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was like, I mean, it has some problems, like pretty clearly, but like I don't know, they didn't seem as big this time around.
Shout out to the Breadsword video about it. Go watch that.
Shout out to Breadsword. I think his birthday was
yesterday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Breadsword.
Birthday, Breadsword.
Happy birthday, Mr. Sword.
Happy birthday, Mr. Breadsword, sir.
I can't wait for your new video.
Yeah, but anyway, Robin Hood, very good movie.
Then, what did you watch?
Then I watched Rendezvous.
I also watched it then, but I didn't lock it.
Another 70s film.
It's a short film.
It's a short film.
About driving.
We
don't need to talk about it that much.
He's Rendezvous.
We don't need to talk about it.
It's one of my favorite short films. Go watch it. Rendezvous, 1976. Great stuff.
Yes. Then on the 24th, we watched Scooby-Doo Stage Fright. Came out the same year as Grand Piano, coincidentally. It's another thing about Stage Fright, Robbie.
Oh my gosh, it's the perfect double feature.
Which Scooby-Doo Stage Fright, we've been watching a lot of Scooby-Doo movies lately, and
we have.
They're all fantastic beautiful and hilarious.
What's going on with Scooby-Doo movies? I thought they'd all be like garbage, but they're actually pretty good.
To be fair, I'm trying to watch all of the highest average rated that I can.
Yeah.
But man, they're just this isn't as good as I think it's better than Phantasaur, but I don't think it's as good as something like
it's gonna be really hard to top like Zombie Island and stuff.
Well, no, not Zombie Island. I'm trying to remember the name of the other one by Sundstrom.
Oh gosh, I'm totally blanking.
It's the evil electric boy one.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
It's not quite up to that tier, even though I rated them the same. But man, is it hilarious!
The sandwich bit in this is so funny.
This movie is so funny, like through and through. And I think it's like a theme for all of these Scooby-Doo movies, where just the opening is like this is kind of not good, and then the rest of the movie is just all of the greatest bits you've ever seen.
All killer, no filler, baby. Good stuff.
So yeah, I loved it. I gave it 3.5 stars.
I also gave it 3.5 stars.
Then also on the 24th, I watched Little Women.
Little Women? How did you see the Little Women, Micah? They're so tiny. You can't see them.
Florence Pugh is really short, though.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
She's, like, really short.
That's hilarious.
Can you not tell when she's on screen?
No, I couldn't tell.
No, like, I've said this to Haley. She's got, like, an extremely similar build to Haley.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. Shout out to Florence Pugh. She's great.
Shout out to Florence Pugh. This is my favorite movie of all time.
Wow.
Beautiful. Amazing. I will stand by what I said in my review, that I honestly think it's one of the greatest depictions and kind of paintings of humanity ever put to screen.
I could see that.
Like,
definitely.
just overall the human experience put to screen. And it's really, really beautiful. And Greta Gerwig is a gift. And Little Women is also a fantastic book. So
Mike is like, it's the perfect expression of the human experience, and everyone else is like, haha, the women were tiny.
I'm like, it's one of the most thematically rich, deep expressions of emotion and human existence, and everyone's like, haha, tiny women.
Haha, Little Women. Isn't that so funny? That's such a funny title.
If you can't guess, I gave it 5 out of 5.
Great movie.
Then I also watched King of Comedy.
Watching so many movies, Micah.
Technically it was the 25th, but we watched it at like 1 a.m.
Oh my gosh. I was trying to get to sleep, and all I hear is Richard Pupkin. Or Rupert. Why did I say Richard?
Rupert Pupkin, also often mispronounced and misspelled.
Often mispronounced and misspelled. Dude.
Which, shout out to King of Comedy. I've watched it a lot now because I keep just turning it on because it's really, really fantastic. And I showed it to my mom. I was like, this is a fantastic movie and you haven't seen it. And she liked it. So shout out to that.
I mean, it's I struggle to conceive someone not liking King of Comedy who appreciates like filmmaking. Because like I could see not liking it if you're just not that into like what it's doing. But like it's so good.
But what it's doing is so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
I give it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Then what did we watch, Robbie?
Together we united
again.
the forces to tackle the greatest movie of all time.
You're wrong, but go on.
Speed Racer, the 2008 Speed Racer.
Go Speed Racer.
Oh my gosh.
Go Speed Racer. Go.
You want to talk about dialed in visuals.
Oh, this movie is fantastic.
This, my man, it does not stop.
We showed it to my girlfriend Haley. She had never seen it before,
Oh.
which she didn't know what Speed Racer was, which is hilarious because I like grew up on Speed Racer and we started the movie and she's like, now what is this actually about? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's about someone who likes to drive cars really fast.
And at the end, she was like, that was so weird. And I was like, no, but it was Speed Racer. She really liked it. It was just really, she was like, that was so weird.
Dude, imagine watching this on like the craziest sugar high of your life. That's the perfect viewing experience.
I mean, we've talked about Speed Racer quite a bit on the podcast
to do an episode
before.
On it. It's so good.
It's fantastic.
I'm just turning into like a ridiculously huge Wachowski fan, which as we all should be, but like Speed Racers, I honestly don't know if I could only watch like one Wachowski movie again. I don't know if I'd pick The Matrix or Speed Racer.
My biggest compliment I can give this movie, because like, I mean, there are a lot of weird things that would turn people off to it just from from an outside viewing.
Yeah.
But like, my biggest compliment I can give this movie is that it's a movie that has held me in chills consistently for like almost the longest. There are other movies that have done it for longer, but like for the entire ending of the final race, gosh. I am just like ascending.
That final race, I guarantee I will testify in court to this, that I think the final scene, like the final sequence in Speed Racer, is some of the best stuff ever put to film. It's just absolutely electric. It's beautiful.
Then also and I gave that 5 out of 5.
Yeah, me too.
Then also on the 25th, I watched Words on Bathroom Walls. Weird title, weird poster. I thought it was really funny.
Why are people making out?
One of the top reviews for this was saw this movie and thought it was going to be a lesbian romance movie.
Dude, it looks like a lesbian romance movie.
It looks so much like a lesbian romance movie, but it's not even funny. That's not even the main focus, is romance, and it's about a guy.
It's about some guy.
But it's about a teenager with schizophrenia. And
Excuse me?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, that's what it's about.
I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing about that poster tells you that.
Okay.
And I think the biggest thing I can say about this movie, it's not perfect by any means. It actually has some really unique stuff that is actually good about it. But the biggest thing I can say about it is that it is a film about somebody with mental illness that feels so much behind people with mental illness. Not demonizing. It's not demonizing it at all. It is exclusively about the struggle of him dealing with it, and also mainly just dealing with people dealing with him.
Thank goodness, man. We need more of that.
And I was so movies, refreshed
in media
by this.
In general.
And my mom was curious enough about it to look up what the mental illness community, especially the schizophrenic community, thought about the movie and its portrayal. And there are some things that they were like, eh. Yeah, but I don't know in terms of mental illness movies, they were there was so few actual complaints on how it's dealt with and how the experience of going through especially being a teenager with schizophrenia would be.
Oof. Yeah, no. But if that is what this movie is, I'm kind of interested in seeing it now, because that's something that needs so much more positive representation in media, and it just has not gotten it over the years.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's a very simple movie. That's the plot, the structure of the plot is exactly what you would expect it to be, and it's not doing anything outstanding in any way whatsoever. Nothing outstanding, except for how refreshing it was to see mental illness actually portrayed in what I think, in my unprofessional, educated opinion, is a good, actual, positive presentation of.
Well, there you go.
I gave it 3.5 stars.
Cool movie.
Then on the 26th, I watched The Last Stand.
Hey.
We've talked about it a lot.
We mentioned this movie so many times.
But go watch Yossi Sloan's The Last Stand.
Yeah, The Last Stand. Good movie.
Very good movie.
Great film.
No, it's not a movie. What are you getting me to say?
Okay,
what are you having me say on here? It's a short film.
It's a short movie.
Then on the 27th, I watched The 355.
355.
Which is actually how you say it, which I was very relieved.
Good. That's the only good way to say it.
Because the 355 is terrible.
that's the worst title of all time. But the 355 sounds
The 355 is exactly what you would expect the 355 to be. I have nothing to say about it. It's so boring, and I hope to never think about it again. It's not aggressively bad. It's good in no ways. It's just, I mean, the cast is cool. I like I like a lot of the cast, but it's so boring and so forgettable.
Yikes. Those are the two biggest sins I think a movie can commit in my eyes, is being boring and forgettable.
My review for this was, wow, I sure am happy to never think about this again.
Wow.
I gave it 2.5 stars.
So not a 355 fan.
No.
Not a fiver.
Not a
355.
It's not even about what its title is about. They don't talk about the title of it until the last 10 minutes.
That is so funny. Oh my god.
It's so ridiculous. Anyway, what did we watch on the 27th?
27th, we watched Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
I hate that Pokemon is in front of it, but Pokemon is in front of all of the Pokemon movies.
Well, how are people going to know it's a Pokemon movie, Micah, if they don't put Pokemon Detective Pikachu?
Hey, my Similar Films is up on Letterboxd now.
Ayo. Shout out to Letterboxd. They keep adding the coolest features, man.
Wait, there is a Detective Pikachu too?
Yeah, it's already been confirmed.
Heck, I thought.
But yeah, Detective Pikachu. We watched it on
Pokemon Day.
Unintentionally. I had no idea it was Pokemon Day.
I knew it was Pokemon Day when I suggested it.
I didn't know it was Pokemon Day. I got the sudden urge to watch it the day before, and I don't know why.
And Nintendo was sending out the signals.
They were sending
the radio waves.
They were sending out the radio waves, and they were watch Detective Pikachu, and I'm like, okay.
But man, Detective Pikachu is so much fun. Its problems are clearly there.
Yeah,
they're the most easy to point out problems in the world.
Oh, it has problems. Yes, everyone knows.
But I kind of love Detective Pikachu, and Pokemon are so amazing. I love Pokemon way more than I should,
Honestly, if the third act was a little tighter, I would have given this like an 8 or a 9.
Right?
It's so much fun.
And like I'm sitting there with my girlfriend who did not grow up on Pokemon, and I'm just like, look, Pokemon, look at the Pokemon, and she's like, that's nice.
That's nice, dear.
But she enjoyed it, so I was happy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm glad I revisited it. I did enjoy it quite a bit more on a rewatch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I always really enjoyed it. It's not perfect by any means,
No.
but I just have fun with it. I give it 3.5 stars.
I also gave it 3.5 stars.
And then last night
The last night
we
in
watched
Soho, Micah.
Grand Piano.
Yeah, and then we talked about it for like a half an hour. You just witnessed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, good week for movies.
Yeah, no.
You need to watch The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Micah. It's great.
I think I might after that description.
It's so good.
Because I mean, I do like German, like early German filmmaking. From what I've seen, it's
Fritz Lang was in talks for directing this, actually.
interesting.
But he was in the middle.
Is that how you guys got on the Fritz Lang the spider thing?
I think that's how my mom got on it, but like he was gonna direct this, but he was busy directing part 1 of The Spiders. So
yeah,
great stuff. I could easily see Fritz Lang doing this.
Fritz
movie.
Lang is amazing.
Great.
Shout out to Fritz Lang.
Shout out to Fritz Lang. Great director.
But yeah, thanks you guys for listening. Go check out some good movies. Go check out Grand Piano. It needs some love.
It needs so much love.
I can't believe how little it made.
Right. But yeah.
Yeah. Go watch Robin Hood. Go watch Scooby Doo. Speed Racer. Little Women.
Yeah, go watch Speed Racer, man.
King of Comedy. Just go watch good movies.
Go watch all the good movies if you can.
Play some Pokemon. Watch a Pokemon movie. Enjoy Pokemon.
Yes. We'll catch you guys in the next one.